Oh God, I feel fucking weird. I don't like being sick. I prayed for cold weather, I got cold weather, and now people are coughing on my neck and on my scalp, and now it's cold as shit. Oh my God. Ugh. 95 degrees the entire month of October. And now it's fucking cold? Like right before Halloween? And it's not just like a small chill, it's like humid as fuck, nigga. Anyway, good morning. I was just talking about this, but men in my life are complaining about rotational dating, and I get it. It sucks. Because for men, it doesn't have a benefit, and for women, it has all the benefits. But to put it simply, a lot of women have not had benefits in their relationships for a long time. Me, I've usually, like, even in some pretty bad bonds, I've still had pretty good dynamics with people, like, in a sexual context, in a romantic context, because I always demanded what I wanted, for the most part. Some things did slip under the radar, I can admit that. But whenever I heard these stories about women who are just like, hey, I've never had an orgasm in my entire life, I have never known what that feels like. Or women who are just like, you can tell that heterosexuality really is not a choice, because you're out here simping for a man who has never, ever, ever made you come even once. And you've been chasing him for how long? And it's like, how do I put this? Every woman has a nightmare story. Every woman has a story of a fucked up relationship, I'm pretty fucking sure. Unless you're just like magically perfect. But simply put, there's a lot of flawed people in this planet. So you could be the most perfect little Stepford wife ever, and you could still choose what you think is a great quality man. But then you might, like, it's like, oh, you don't have orgasms. Or, oh, he's a little bit more selfish in bed. Or, oh, he does this. Or, oh, he does that. Some people can also switch up when they get you settled down. And it's just like, it's a lot of risk out there in the dating scene. Like, you know, I thought I dated perfect people. I remember this one guy, I was like, he's so perfect. And then the very same day, he asked me out and told me there was no one else he ever wanted. He left me for his fucking best friend who was across the country in Missouri. It's like, and then it's like, okay, you can leave me for Jalea, but you don't have to insult me and mock me with her on your way out. That's a little overkill. I did try to kill myself after. It was not fun. And then I've had other fuck buddies or situationships or relationships where it was just like, this is a mess and I hate that I'm attached to just this guy. But like, and lots of women have had the issue of like liking men or people in general who just have not been good to them. So monogamy just kind of seems like a scam to some at some point. Like now a lot of people are like, okay, monogamy is just like, what? I'm gonna date some dude. He's putting on a facade for a while until finally I have sex with him or get into a relationship with him. And then suddenly he starts leaving his clothes on the floor and starts asking me to do his chores, or stops doing basic hygiene, or starts suddenly being really abrasive and rude towards me and like giving me less in bed and coming home late. And then, like, it's like, what? We've seen the stories of our grandmothers and our mothers, and now we see how the dating scene is like now. It's like, no. A lot of people are just going, fuck this shit. We need something else. In comes rotational dating. A man's worst fucking nightmare. Along with ethical non-monogamy and poly. Why? Because instead of a woman being like, OMG, he's so cute, I'm just gonna focus on him. Now it's like, hey, step right on up, buddy. You have a chance for this amazing golden opportunity with me, and if you fuck up, don't worry, I'm not gonna cry about you, set your car on fire, call your mom. I'm not like, cause guess what? There's like 7 niggas in line behind you anyway. And you get to just set the standards and bar for yourself. Like, you know, if one nigga says that you can't get it and you know another nigga will, instead of being like, oh, I'm dating a guy who doesn't even get me flowers or roses like I see most boyfriends do for their girlfriends, maybe I'm not trying hard enough. You could just be like, fuck this nigga. Because it's like if you're rotationally dating or poly, you could just be like, actually, never mind, he's going to the bottom of the rung. Okay, next concubine, come in. And then the next guy comes in with a big ass fucking bouquet and takes you out to fancy restaurants. And you're like, yes, this is great. You are doing great. You have spot 2 on the leaderboard. A guy friend of mine, he told me that poly and all this shit has all the benefits for women and basically limited for men, because it's like, if you're a man, it's like, hey, you get to wait your turn until like eventually you can have sex with a woman who probably won't text you back quite as often and like won't give you that much devastating attention, and like, or like, you know, you'll be in contact with her for a bit, but you know deep down that she's got like other people that she's more hooked on. Like, you're not her favorite, and you want to be her favorite, you want to be the only one, but you're not. And then meanwhile for women it's like, hey, you have a bunch of really hot, attractive people. You chose the best of the best and you have them in abundance. And then they're all trying to take you to the best places where you don't have to pay for a single thing if you don't want to. And then you get to go on these amazing trips, amazing outings, have amazing fucking sex absolutely anytime you want, and you aren't limited to just one person. So if you have a romantic nigga but he's not hitting it right, don't worry, because you got that one kind of fuckboyish dude who's definitely sort of cute and still meets a certain standard, and he's the one who can take you to Pound Town. Like you can have different girth, different length, different durations and positions. You can have different romances going on at once, like you're a storybook character in a fucking romance book. Like, you know, you ever read like those mangas, manhwas, all that, or just any book written for teenage girls ever, where it's like, oh, I could have this sexy knight, or I can date the king, or this peasant boy who's a romantic poet and might get big someday. And it's like she has all these options, and it's fucking great for her. Also, I heard psychologically it does kind of work for men anyway, because it's like if they know that you have other options and that they're not impressing you, they're going to try really hard to impress you. This has even happened for me. I remember that guy I dated, Morgan. He was like, hey, because he was the reason I broke my laptop. If you're wondering, I punched the shit out of my laptop since he kept harassing me all on my phone and my computer endlessly because I wasn't talking to him because he's evil. In a fit of rage, and my laptop started buffering at the same time, so I punched it. It didn't break the screen, but it did like fuck up something in the internal keyboard hardware, and that pissed me off. And then what pissed me off worse is like this nigga being like, oh, I'll make it up to you, I'll give you a computer that is 100% working. Then he didn't. And so I remember I was like talking to Liam about, like, you know, my other ex-boyfriend, who I still see from time to time. And, you know, he saw my rant on my story and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry he did that to you, baby. He sounds like a piece of shit. Anyway, would you like my PS4 with PlayStation Plus? I was like, I would love that so much. Thank you, Liam. And he gave it to me for my birthday. Morgan heard about that. He was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he was angry. He was like, because he was thinking, how dare he try to take the spot of being to me his favorite. And so then Morgan was like, okay, fine, here's my fucking laptop. If anything, take this second one too. I have a second laptop that I'm giving you just in case, because I don't want to cease contact with you. There, aren't I so good? It's a fancy gaming laptop too. It's an Omen, so you can do anything you want on it. And then I was like, oh, thanks, Morgan. Like, yeah, this shit is awesome. Like, you know, you could be with one dude and then on the third date, after you really liked him, he could be a total piece of shit, but you won't care too much because you also know that you have like 3 to 4 other options that also can like provide the same, if not better. And it's fucking great. The only downside is that if I have given a dude a chance and he knew from the jump like my standards and that like the way I date, and then got an attitude over it, it's ugh. I don't want to bring up my most recent ex. He's an evil bastard, but I will say this. If I was in a better position and like didn't try things out with him, I like, oof, my life would have been so much easier, dude. But I'll put it to you like this. And then he was all upset and shit. Oh, but yeah, I remember I made it very abundantly clear like what I'd be doing and how I'd be doing it. And he was all shitty about it, as if I hadn't been doing it from the start. And then let's just say that led to a lot of dumb shit in our relationship. I remember once he tried to grab my phone and then he saw that I matched with this like Netflix executive guy who obviously was super rich, able to attend endless parties and galas and shit. And Jared just straight up said like, holy shit, how is a normal guy like me supposed to fucking compete in the dating scene if we have dudes like this who are just like mega rich fucking multi-millionaire executives who have jet skis and multi-apartments and do this and do that? Like, how are we supposed to compete? And then you know what he did? He actually tried to like snatch my phone away and playfully unmatch me with as many dudes as he could. Anyway, let's just say he heard a level of deep stern voice he had never heard from me again, and I got my phone passed back. The match expired anyway because I was too busy hanging out with Jared to reply to motherfuckers, sadly. And some of them didn't reply to me. Shit happens. Oh, if I could rewind time, I would have just broken up with that nigga. Those matches wouldn't have expired. I'd probably have a jet ski and a nice property over by the lake somehow. Ugh. Oh, I also meant to say this. I have 2 different directions I can go for this one, but I guess I'll say this. When me and Jared dated, like, how do I put this? The amount of, like, bullshit he put me through, but then also the nerve to complain that I was going to see other men. It's like, yeah, dude, you can't complain that I'm going on dates with these fancy restaurants to these men and giving them a chance to impress me, because you knew for the entire fucking year that I'd be doing it, and that I'd do it the second the summer hit. And then, simply put, if you don't want to do that, then be the one to take me out on fancy dates. You can't be out here being like stingy or only take me out to a nice restaurant when you like do a sex crime against me. I would rather just go for dudes who can take me to nice restaurants, and even if they're boring as fuck on the first date, it's still like me giving someone new a chance. He didn't like that, but guess what? I didn't like him. That relationship ended, and oh my god, he was so mad because he tried, like, oh, it's a long story. I'm sure some of you know it by heart by now. But let's just say he was so mad when he threw a tantrum over me just being like, hi, we've been through a lot, and I don't really feel comfortable with you making sexual remarks about me or sexual jokes. They weren't even jokes. It was just him every single sentence being like, I want to fuck you. I want to, oh, you look fuckable in this outfit. Yeah, this meme's funny, but not as funny as my dick would be in your mouth. Like, it's just stupid shit. And I just said I wasn't comfortable with it nicely, and that I still thought he was cool. I just don't have the energy or mood for that right now. He blew up and was like, fuck you, you already see me, you're a fucking narcissist, blah, blah, blah. Gaslight this, projection that, all this bullshit. Anyway, he blocked me. I blocked him back, and then he was very upset when he found out, like, a few days later that it's like, oh, shit, I can't swoop back in and promise to, like, hang out with Tamia on July 4th and take her to some empty fucking bumfuck parking lot in Vallejo and then watch the fireworks with her near the lake, because she's in Lake Tahoe with this hot Colombian dude, and she's having the time of her life shotgunning IPAs with him on some rocks. Like, yeah, fuck you, nigga. I have options. Men don't like when you have options, but they also don't want to be the best option, so it's not my fucking fault. I'm just saying. And then, yeah, I remember I actually did stop seeing anyone else for a while, and I did just date Jess Morgan. It didn't stop him from being paranoid and jealous until I eventually realized it was just him projecting. Why? Because he was the one secretly going out of his way to secretly try and contact other bitches, because at times he would get tired of me, or he just wanted to see what he could get away with. And obviously that did not end well, but it was just stupid as fuck. And I just thought to myself, yeah, no more giving monogamy a shot, because these niggas annoy me. It's like, if you could just date one dude and then he's great until he gets comfortable or thinks you're not leaving, and then he stops taking you out on dates and thinks everything's too expensive for you and doesn't want to try, even though you still try for him. And then you notice his teeth are turning Technicolor yellow and he's not taking good care of his hygiene, and his only hobbies are like video games and porn. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get bored of him. But he is bored of you first, which is even more insulting because you're the hot one who has a lot of value. So a bunch of women are just kind of collectively being like, I'm gonna leave my ancient boyfriend, and I'm also never gonna be monogamous again. I'd rather just have like a bunch of fucking sexy ass male concubines. Like, you know, men who like work out and are fit and come in different shapes, sizes, and forms, and all of them treat me well, and I'm the special little princess in my universe because I deserve it. And this makes niggas mad, but then again, if even if you were like, okay, I'm going to drop my options and just date you, they would go back to being bullshit immediately. But then when you're like, actually, I'm going to just date, like, but how do I put this? It's like a weird thing where also some men psychologically like it, because it's like their ego is scorned and they want to work really hard to either be the best of the best because they know there's a leaderboard and they know they want to be on top of it. And you know, we've all heard the stories about the chase and don't be easy to catch and blah blah blah. It's very easy when you either decenter men but just have a lot of niggas who want you, or there are a lot of men who you want and they want you, and simply put, you're already too busy with like each of them that you can't spread out your attention like too much in each department. So whoever wants your attention the most is going to work the hardest. And I do feel bad for some of the niggas in the dating scene now, because some of them actually are good men who want to like date. And then it's like, shit, I can't get this woman because she is too happy with her, like, 16 lovers of varying genders and sizes and entertainments. And, yeah. But it has a lot of benefits for women. I guess I can bring up this metaphor because a buddy of mine, he was a massive player. He even tried to swoop me when I first met him, and he was so angry that he couldn't have me at all because my standards were too high for him. And, you know, it hurt his fucking ego because it's like, how do I put this? So he tried the fox and the grapes method, where he just kind of was like, oh, well, she's just some fucking whore anyway, just like a slut. But secretly, he'd like see the rage every single time I talked about going on a date with a dude to a fancy restaurant, or getting flowers from this guy or doing that guy. And he'd even be able to see some of the guys, and he'd be like, that guy was ugly as shit. Why were you with him? And I was like, because he treats me well. But either way, it was weird because he also was attached to, like, he had his own roster of like 8 different women. And he has a history of like cheating on women, playing around, like fucking them over as much as he could, just because he felt like it. Like one of them, or actually no, I think several of them, he would just straight out move out while the woman was at work, and then block their number, and then just like never even officially break up with them. So he broke hearts. So yeah, that's another example of why women aren't into monogamy, because what the fuck is that? You just pre-planned to come into my life and be evil? But then guess what? He got his karma, because now he's with some girl who basically, like, they dated for a bit, she cheated on him, and then she was like, how about actually ethical non-monogamy? And he hated that, because then he was treated as disposable, just in the way he always treats every woman he's ever had. And then now he's like, oh my god, ooh, like, why does she want to see any other men? Why does she want to fuck other men? Well, and I had to remind him, nigga, when you first told me about this girl, you kept saying, oh, she's alright, she's got like a flat, cute little white butt, she doesn't have like a luscious body like you. And you would say all these little comments about how she was attractive but not that hot, or how like you didn't see a future with her and wanted absolutely nothing with her. And now you're suddenly like head over heels in love, conveniently, when she starts like actually looking for men who don't constantly make jokes on a mic about how they never want to be a fucking stepfather, and she has kids. And then yeah, it's like, yeah, you're a hot fucking mess, emotionally, financially, and like all that. So it's cool that you can have like hours and hours of sex capades with her. Like I think once they went for 8 hours, goddamn. But it's still like, yeah, she got out of a very long marriage with a very fucked up guy who wasn't giving her orgasms, and now she's trying to be like, I'd rather like play the field and enjoy myself. I'm not trying to just settle for the first like hot tall guy I meet. And then that really fucked up his ego and his brain. And yeah, now he's losing his mind, because like eventually they separated, but they still have a situationship thing. Or more so, he wants her, she doesn't give that much of a fuck about him, but sort of does. She wants him to want her, and he does, but she also doesn't even want him like that. It's an ego thing. So it's just 2 egotistical people kind of in a weird little bond where they sometimes fuck, and they fuck each other up in the head. It is kind of his karma though. 1738. But yeah, that he had that shit coming. And yeah, so now she has the option where she can date and fuck any rich guy, any poor guy. She can try all these new experiences, and it doesn't matter if one guy tells her no, because another guy will tell her yes and this on some improv shit. Yes, and I remember when I was 18, this one guy was really trying to convince me to be his girlfriend. He was 29, like almost 30. Obviously, we know how numbers work. But he also had a habit of trying to strictly date 18-year-olds, which is a massive red flag. Even I knew that back then. I was like, I know what type of guy this is. We were just supposed to fuck, but then I guess he was mad at being treated as disposable, so he was trying to convince me to be his girlfriend. I was really against it. He was like, please, please, please. I said, okay. Cue the worst date I've ever had in my fucking life. Like, he had the emotional maturity of, like, a fucking 3rd grader. Oof. I don't even want to talk about it. Like, damn, even the dude who got his braces stuck in my coochie hair was better than him in terms of, like, not in sex, but still in a general fun time had, and that's really saying something. And I remember we were sitting at Fuddruckers, eating burgers and shit. And I kind of was communicating with him. I was shy, but I thought, I'm kind of thinking of doing this thing where, like, like, you've heard of that thing where, like, if someone doesn't commit right away, then they, like, see other people and go on other dates with other people to get to know them. I think I want to try being poly. Or I said something like, I think that's called being poly. And then he interrupted me just to be like, no, oh my fucking god, that's not called being poly, that's just called dating while single, in this condescending ass voice. And I was like, why? Anyway, I'm considering that myself. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, I want to do that. I want to date while single. You said it yourself, right? And he said, what? So you mean to tell me that if I don't commit to you right away, you're just going to see other people? It's like, nigga, that was like, first off, that was your whole, like, nigga, you just said that wasn't a big deal and that everyone does it. But some of you have an issue with it when it comes to me and not wanting you. Interesting, interesting. Extremely fucking hilarious. Like, he switched up so fast. He went from, that's totally normal, everyone does it, stupid ass, to like, oh, you want to do it? Wow. Just because I won't make you my girlfriend, you're gonna look for people who might? That's practically cheating. Like, stupid ass. Anyway, if you wonder how that went, let's just say a few days later, after an obviously terrible first date where I didn't even text him when I got home, like, I fully, it was such a bad date that, like, I won't describe the full sequence. Let's just say I sprinted across the street when it was a red light, like, or more like 2 seconds left before the light turned red on this big ass street. I was getting hit by a car just so that this nigga would stare at me from across the street like, what the fuck was that? And then I hopped on the quickest bus I could so I wouldn't have to take a bus back home or spend any more time with this slack-jawed, ugly-ass, immature, basically R-worded man. And then a few days later, he had the nerve to hit me up like, hey, I thought on it, and actually, I would like you to be my girlfriend. There's a lot that I want to change about you. Like, there's a lot that you have to work on and change to really be worthy of more of my attention, but I would like that. So I think we can work through your flaws together, and we can really make this a thing. I said, cool, I'm not interested. And then he was like, you're just some fucking whore anyway. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're entirely right, because I fucked another dude who was better than you in bed just like yesterday night. And it was great. And then he called me screaming and crying and kept sending me texts for like fucking hours, flipping shit. He was a strange dude. Yeah. So another perfect example of why women don't want monogamy. Because imagine if I was so down bad that I thought he was the one that would be worth... like, no. Some people, like, I feel bad for the ones who are good men who just want monogamy, and all the seemingly good women are being snatched up in, like, polycules or whatever, or, like, what weird sex cults, and or just, like, sexually liberated, or just, like, not trying to settle down and be serious about one person intentionally. But then there's other people where it's like, yeah, you kind of deserve to be left behind. Because, hey, some niggas don't want to try. It's like, if your teeth are turning Technicolor yellow, and you're not, like, it's like you don't have any ambitions or hobbies, you can't complain that the girl you want is gonna instead go on dates with, oh, this guy can take me out to Gary Danko, and then he's gonna take me out to French Laundry, and then the opera, and we can have insightful conversations at a book bar or about, like, the histories of racism across the world, and, like, how, like, the U.S. South created, like, we had a domino effect and kind of created the Holocaust and played a role that is not talked about much. And then we can have insightful conversations over glasses of wine and, like, go out for amazing meals and shit. And then even then, that's just one nigga out of, like, 3 potential niggas that I could see. Niggas who don't try are going to be left behind. Because it's like, yeah. Also, like, there's even this one guy who's been trying to get my attention lately. And he's the type of dude where it's like, he's definitely trying to love bomb me, but I am noticing it's like, okay, I can give myself a million compliments. I don't need him to. But he also hasn't done that much to prove he's genuinely interested in me. Any conversations are about him. Not much about me, so I can tell what he's trying to be on. But, you know, and he also broke a million girls' hearts. Like, you know, he even bragged to me about it. He was like, oh, yes, I've hurt a million women. Because when my ex broke up with me coldly the year before, I wanted to hurt any woman I could meet in the same way I got hurt. So I led them on and made them think I wanted a relationship. Then I coldly blocked them after and ignored them. And I did that with as many women as I can. But now I'm a changed man. No, you aren't. That's who you are at your core to me. Because it's like, you saw women as disposable and abusable. And you did a lot of things just so you can trick them into having sex with you. You're kind of evil. And now I'm supposed to believe you? Like, how do I put this? It's like that meme where you see the Grim Reaper go at every single door and kill everybody. And then the Grim Reaper expects you to open the door for them now, despite you seeing what they've done to other people. I mean, people with doors. Like, so yeah. Anyway, he was trying to love bomb and be like, you're so beautiful and amazing and perfect, and I will give you anything you want, ever. You will never have to struggle or have anything you lack around me. And mind you, my hair was fucked up, so I was like, okay, well, I found this lady who wants to, like, do my hair for, like, pretty cheap. Like, are you willing to invest in that? Will you help me do that? And then he sent me a long ass voice message where he was like, I did promise. Guess I could do that. And then I just thought to myself, oh, okay, he's giving stingy liar energy. I'm not a fan of that. Not my type of man. You know what is my type of man? The other man I was talking to. Because that nigga, he was also kind of boring and shit. But guess what? Out of nowhere, he just cashed out me first thing in the fucking morning on some, here, you should treat yourself today. And just cashed out me $150. Mind you, I hadn't seen that guy for like a month straight. But he was still like, hell yeah, I'm investing what I want. And that was sweet. And I got $150 fucking dollars. And I got to relax and vibe and be happy that way. And then I told the other nigga straight up, I was like, ew, you don't have to worry about it anymore because I just had another man pay for it. And then he was like, ah, shit, now I look like a bitch. And then he paid for my dinner instead. After all of the bullshit I've dealt with, it's like I don't, like, trust me, even when I was like, I'm gonna no longer be monogamous with anybody, I gave it 2 more tries. And then it fucked up. And then even with the recent guy, Alex, you know, I thought he was so fascinating. The 3rd date, he revealed his true colors, and I kind of thought to myself, damn, now I have to be heartbroken for like a week straight, because I really liked this guy, and I actually would have been willing to go. Actually, no. There was that guy, Riley, the guy I got into the fight with his ex over, who punched me in the nose. Like, how do I put this? There were several times I met people this year where I was like, you know what? Maybe monogamy is not just a curse that's going to, like, hurt me in the long run. Maybe I can give it a shot. And then I got introduced to a liar or a manipulator or a narcissist. So it's like, you know what? Like, if I am gonna date, it cannot be monogamous, because it's like, I see how that shit is, really. I'm not supposed to even be dating, but if someone is really, really interesting to me, or if I really found it hard to decenter myself from men, it would just be like, alright, my main goal is gonna be my fucking passions. Like the scripts that I'm writing, the paintings that I'm making, taking good, proper care of myself, doing good. The last thing I need is to wake up in the morning and be stressed because a nigga isn't texting me back, or blah, blah, blah. My mental health is not good enough for that. Like, nah. So it's like, I want a man who is hygienic, who takes care of themselves, who has money and income, who's not gonna be, like, stingy. Because it's like, do you want to give a guy a chance? And then it's like, oh, it turns out he's a love bomber or a manipulator, or he hasn't remembered a single thing about me despite, or he's talking to a bunch of other women behind my back, or he's projecting his insecurities on me and destroying a bond with him that I like because he's secretly jealous of me or insecure. It's like, you know, why would I want any of that? A lot of women have checked out of monogamy these days. Not every single one, but enough that people are complaining, because it's like, yeah, niggas ain't shit. And it's getting to the point where it's like, as a collective, we're kind of noticing, like, we could commit to just one man. But then, like, hell, remember that video that went viral recently where that girl was like, imagine you've been dating your boyfriend for 3 years, and then she just, like, reveals that her boyfriend cruelly fucked up, like, basically was too cowardly to break up with her, so then they moved on her dime to Texas, and she drained her life savings and gave up her career and her life and her friend group, which she shouldn't have done in the first place. Also, that the man could, like, break up with her with a note. And then basically now she has to move to Florida to live with her mom in a 1-bedroom when she could have just, like, really. It's like, so yeah. It's like, yeah, some women have not had benefits their whole life in dating, and so now they're just like, let me be the selfish one. Let me be the one who has more hoes than Santa. Like, let me be the one who actually gets provided for and cared for and nurtured for, and can be the one who leaves others on red because I'm actually busy and have shit to do. Like, it works. And like I said, it's done a weird psychological thing. Like, some men fucking hate it, some men love it. Because there is this fucking diagram I could probably show you about, like, the amount of men I've met who weren't that invested in their partners when their partners were just seeing them, versus when their partners were like, I don't want to date you anymore, or I'm gonna see other people, or like, I'm not interested in settling down. Suddenly those same men are just head over heels like, oh shit, suddenly she's my dream woman and she's perfect. Stupid as fuck. Moral of the story, yeah, women are just kind of tired of being the ones who get hurt and get nothing out of it. So now it's like, oh, we have a situation where we realized our value. We're like, you know, that's why in divorces, that's why usually you kind of notice, like, oh, men kind of take a while to get women after a divorce, but then the women usually can meet someone instantly. They just kind of choose not to because they want to heal and stuff. So, yeah. Like, hell, you noticed my dating life got so much better when I said I'm going to raise my standards incredibly high, and I'm not going to give anyone the time of day or really look their way unless they meet all of my standards. I'm still working on that, considering the recent guy Mata, he's just been, like, love bombing emotionally. And then, like, but not really that, or, like, he's DoorDash me money, I mean, food and stuff, but, it's like, I'm not taking him seriously until he proves that he's taking me seriously. And that's what a lot of women want. They want someone who actually is dedicated, invests in them, and takes them seriously. And that's what they deserve. And I want everyone to meet their ideal partner, but until then, sometimes you gotta wade through the bullshit. If you don't want poly, though, you're not an asshole for not wanting to date someone who's poly. I have to remind people. It's entirely, like, it's entirely fine, and it's been normal for thousands and hundreds and millions and billions of years to not like it when your boy or your girl is getting fucked by a million other people. Like, I get it. You're not an asshole for leaving. And then if they really want you, then they would stop being poly for you. But you have to also make sure you want them. Otherwise, it's just going to be like, damn, I stopped being poly for Morgan just for him to get, like, super, super, super abrasive and evil and fucked up. Even more so. Or, like, with Jared, I was like, I could just, like, focus just on Jared. I don't need anyone else than Jared. And then Jared started also acting up the worst. And it's like, okay. It's like a weird thing in their mind where it's like, I hate that she has options and I'm jealous of her and insecure. So I need to start sabotaging her life on purpose because I know she only has me to rely on for her happiness. And then that just pushed me farther away from him. Like, oh, never mind, I don't like you. And I'm going to date this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And he hated it. But he also didn't try to be better. So yeah, fuck these niggas with a chainsaw. Anyway. So yeah, don't feel bad about going poly if you desire. Don't feel bad about being monogamous if it's what you want. But it's also fine to not put your eggs all in one basket or rush into things. Take it slow. And don't be afraid to dip your toes in and meet other people. And if they're not acting right, start talking to other people. But only if you're not officially dating them. And if they try to be like, I can't believe you're texting other women, or texting other men, you just have to remind them we are not in a committed relationship, and you are not someone who's acting like you want to be in a committed relationship, and you're not consistently acting good, so I'm not interested. Like, yeah, I told that shit to Morgan, because I remember I told him the whole fucking, like, the first few months of spring, I was like, the second it hits this month, I am looking for other people, and I will no longer care about you. He called my bluff. Guess what? I went on one date with this person named Jeremiah, and the next thing you know, Morgan was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I said, nigga, you don't even want me. You leave me on red for like 8 hours a day. Shut the fuck up. And then he was a little bitch baby, but then guess what? Time passed. Life moved on, and then Morgan was like, okay, I want to see Tamia more, and I actually do like her. She has this quality and that quality that I kind of overlooked because I was too busy being an asshole. She's really nice. She deserves, like, and then next thing you know, he was being hella sweet and intentional because he wanted to be the best and wanted me to, like, not see anybody else or treat him as disposable. And he did start liking me along the way. He was like, you know what, I'm going to get her big bunches of roses, and I'm going to intentionally, like, place every single baby's breath in a beautiful array for her hair because she deserves it. And I'm going to get her some nice jewelry just because I think I know it's her favorite thing that men could get her and all that stuff. And he tried. And that's what I appreciate. Anyway. I think that's about enough for this topic. Thank you. Bye.